So based on what we saw last night,
Yes,
do
sir.
we expect Colorado to have a press release on their values on
With Nathan MacKinnon and Jared
Nathan
Bednar
MacKinnon?
screaming at each
Yes.
other and Bednar saying, do your job?
Yes.
If you can read lips.
I think
That's
it was Nathan
speculated
that
what it
said,
may
do
be.
your job.
I don't know. Ask Elliot Friedman. He reads lips.
Who said do your
Ask,
job?
ask Barry Trotz.
I'm not sure who it was, but there was a do your job heard from the bench.
Yeah, I think it was somebody said it was Nathan MacKinnon that said do your job. Who was he talking to? Bednar?
Bednar.
Do your job. Okay.
That was a pretty good exchange.
Listen, this is a frustrated team right now in the Colorado Avalanche. This is a team that's fallen out of third in the Central, dropping like a stone.
Drop 10 of 11.
And all of a sudden, the Dallas Stars are now in that third spot in the Central, and the Avs' losses continue to pile up. And if you're watching on TV, you see a very frustrated Nathan MacKinnon engage with his head coach, Jared Bednar.
And then fall off the bench.
And Landeskog helped him up, but he's a captain. That's his job. What do you make of that one, Kip? You've seen that.
Yeah, I think if he could do over, I don't think he'd want the cameras on. But it is what it is. There's a level of frustration, as you just said. The knock on Nathan still is there's just a little bit of immaturity still there in terms of sometimes being a little bit over animated with his thoughts and ideas. And I think that it's part of the process here with him continuing to grow as a player. You don't want to call out your head coach. I can assure you that. As one of the leaders on that team, Mac, you don't want that public.
You know what? I got to tell you, I was on the bench for 15 years on the bench. I was on the bench for a long time with Brian Murray, and I was on the bench myself. And I don't recall a one-on-one confrontation with myself and a player or Brian and a player on the bench that escalated to a point where I've been there for confrontations, but somebody stopped before it elevated to that point.
Either you or the player?
Right.
Okay.
And my thing was, if I gave somebody a shot, it would be the next step would be in the office. The confrontation would stop on the bench.
It'd be a one-off,
and it would go to the dressing room. Now, I did tell you the one about Ray Shepherd, what he did to me, which I thought was priceless. I was giving Ray Shepherd a blast in his ear.
It's in Detroit.
No, it was in Florida.
Florida.
So I'm giving it to him in his ear about how bad he was on the shift. And the next morning, Lindy and the boys called me into the video room, and they said, hey, we want to show you when you were talking to Shep last night. The camera was right on Ray Shepherd and me over his shoulder. Yeah. And as I'm talking to Ray Shepherd, he's rolling his eyes. And it showed it perfectly with me in his ear and him
awesome.
rolling his eyes. In other words, get lost.
And you can't see. You're behind him,
So
obviously.
he didn't do what Nathan MacKinnon did, but he essentially did.
And that's not to suggest that there wasn't any real heated exchanges between players and coaches every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Some guys love it.
It would, if the exchange would be where you said something and then somebody else said something, but you wouldn't turn around and look at them. You would actually look away and still say it, and you can hear it. And really, the only ones truly that would know that there would have been an exchange would have been the guys on the bench, the trainers.
Mm-hmm. And you as a coach.
And that's it.
And then you deal with it.
Right?
Then you say, you get in here and we'll talk this over so that the message is sent on the bench.
What Nathan did last night was just made it abundantly clear, right? For a good 4 or 5 seconds. And then you follow the story, and then it includes the water bottle being slammed and all of that. But, the whole key in all of that, if you're ever going to say something to your head coach, is just stay in your posture, stay in your space, and hide the body language.
And we'll discuss it at a later time.
And then it'll get picked up. No, right away. Not at a later time. No. The moment that dressing room door shuts, it's either in front of us or it's in the back room.
Totally. And that's where I've always tried to do it. But there is coaches that live for this confrontation on the bench. The guy in Edmonton, Hitchcock, we've seen it. And Mike Keenan, you've been on the bench with Mike Keenan. He brings it. That's just their style. I'm not. It's a different style.
That was an interesting dynamic last night in that Colorado situation, because you had Nathan MacKinnon going at it with Jared Bednar and Gabriel Landeskog, the captain of the team, who, listen, he recognizes the situation. MacKinnon is, engaged with the head coach, and there is that moment where that captain comes in and says, "Okay, now it's too much."
Yeah.
And he did it.
Now it's
he
too
did
much.
it.
Calm down.
Yeah, right after, I think, the water bottle. And listen, we don't know what that exchange was truly about. I mean, Nathan could have had some key points, legitimate reasons why he's upset, and the head coach could have had legitimate reasons, Jared, why he went right back at him. I mean, we don't really understand the dynamics of that conversation unless they make it public. And as players around that, and then I include the captain. I mean, Landeskog did a nice job, I thought, at that point. But you got to let these two guys. It's like watching two guys kind of fight. Every once in a while, you just got to let them go.
Got to let it go.
Got to let it go. And even though that played out and a little bit too much, I think, for everyone's liking, at least Landeskog gave it a chance to kind of breathe a little bit too.
And the bottom line is, you got to send a message to the rest of the group that you don't tolerate that. But at the same time, when you have your one-on-one meeting, you got to let the player come out of the room after the meeting knowing that you're on his team, that you're a team, because he's that important. Listen, it's got to be, the player's got to come out knowing, okay, I made a mistake, I overreacted, but when you got to give him a little bit of a win there too.